Hello there. I'm so happy you're here. Welcome to my podcast, Sacred Soul Sisters. My name is Justina. I am an Usui Holy Fire and Angel Reiki Master with over 20 years of practice, and I'm your host. I can't wait to let others feel the love of community and remind us of the importance of coming together instead of coming apart. Now let's take a deep breath together in through our nose and a long exhale out of our mouth. This is my intentions in a poem to set the tone for our sacred soul sister community. Here you go. Welcome, dear soul, to this sacred space where all are embraced with love and grace. From every land, from near and far, no matter who you are, you're a star. Feel the warmth, the light, the peace. Let your spirit find release. Here we gather, hearts aligned, to uplift, to heal, to realign. Breathe in deeply, feel your glow. Let your light expand and flow. As I pour into you with love so true, your cup overflows, your soul renews. Together we rise, in love we stand, lifting vibrations hand in hand. A mission of light, a journey divine. Thank you for sharing your soul with mine. Welcome to the Sacred Soul Sisters space, a home of love and sacred embrace. I'm so glad you're here. Okay. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to another episode of Sacred Soul Sisters, the space where heart healing and higher consciousness come together in divine flow. I'm your host, Justina, a registered nurse, Reiki master teacher and practitioner, intuitive guide, and spirit communicator with over 20 plus years of experience walking alongside others on their journeys of awakening and transformation. It's always my intention to hold this sacred container as a place of remembrance, a space where we reconnect to our truth, honor our healing, and open our hearts to the wisdom that flows through each of us. And today I'm so deeply honored to welcome the radiant and powerful guest that she is, who embodies transformation on every level, the beautiful Edith B. Kiss. Edith is a globally respected #1 best-selling author, international speaker, holistic mentor, and humanitarian award winner. She's a true alchemist of energy, blending wisdom of ancient healing techniques with precision of modern neuroscience to help others release pain and traumas and ancestral blockages and step into a life of clarity, peace, and purpose. And what makes Edith's journey so extraordinary is how she has this ability to bridge two very different worlds. For 15 years, she worked as a petroleum engineer, which we're going to ask her about here, and somehow ended up in this beautiful path of healing and spiritual mastery with being a Reiki master, a second healer, a karma yogi, an intuitive teacher. Now she has her own global community through her work, Rise Energy, and she has an empowering series, Release with Ease, so many different things she brings to the table to help so many. In today's conversation, we'll dive into what it means to raise our frequency, to blend all of this together. So take a deep breath, dear ones. Feel yourself grounding into the earth right now, or Mother Gaia is reaching up, reaching around our toes and our feet and our ankles and our calves, all the way up our body, really anchoring us to be present today to learn from this incredible guest. So join me. We welcome the luminous and transformative Edith B. Kiss to Sacred Soul Sisters. Welcome, Edith.
Hi, Justina. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me today.
I'm so glad you're here. So I'd love to start with hearing a little bit about your journey. How did you go from, I think what I read was a chemical engineer, something along those lines, to becoming a transformational healer and consciousness guy? Like it's a little bit of a transition.
Yeah, so I was always into mythologies, and history and geography. I always liked those topics in school. And then I haven't really had a religious background because I grew up in Hungary, in a communist country. So we were not truly, in a diversion of Catholic or any kinds of religion. We haven't had any background like that at that time. So when I was a teenager, I actually started to dive deeper into this, like what is more aligned with me, Buddhism, Taoism, Hinduism. I was reading about all of these things. And
Mm-hmm.
then how I actually got into it is that I suffered from panic attacks, and I didn't like the way how a medication feels in me. When I was taking a pill or something, I felt even more losing control. So then I
Oh.
was thinking like I want to learn some or actually be treated by some natural remedies. So that's why I
Mm-hmm.
got into Reiki healing, and also started to use some St. John's words, and
Mm-hmm.
my panic attacks at the beginning. So that was like in my early 20s. And that's how I started with my energy healing journey. So the Reiki healing. So I started first just having sessions. And then I realized that I actually can feel energies. And it would be so great to learn it. So I can do sessions on myself and, on my family. So that's why I decided to have the level 1 and then the level 2. And I was already in the petroleum engineering career at that time. So I was I had like a double life kind of thing. Like in one time, like I was in my career, working sometimes abroad in other countries as a petroleum engineer. And then when I had some time off, like weekends, or then I went to a course or a family constellation therapy or an extrasense retreats or another level of Reiki. So basically, that was my escape from reality. And
Mm.
whenever I felt, that something came up, some relationship issues or some health issues, then I always went back to ask my Reiki master to give me some guidance about it, or give me a session, or to do some family constellation therapy, so on and so forth. Then it was like that for a while. I was still, just suffering through life because I still had my panic attacks. I started to have become overweight because of the 9 to 5 job, and then I also had 2 children at the time. And so in these 16 years, that's what happened. And then
Mm-hmm.
eventually, I decided to quit 9 to 5 because I wanted to spend more time with my children, and became a contractor. And then I was already a Reiki master at that time. So when I became a contractor, I had more time, and then I eventually got into karma yoga healing. Just accidentally, I was invited to this event, and I was flabbergasted by the teachings, by the meditation practices, the activating pineal gland, and the source memory healing the root of the causes, your issues, like in the unconscious mind. So I was started to learning about these things, and I was like, wow, this is amazing, and I started to use them on myself, and I was like, wow, this is really powerful. It's even more powerful than anything I ever tried. So that started to have me that feeling that I really want to show this to people. I really want to help people to heal through this. So there was like a year when I was already established my healing business, but I was still doing some engineering work. So that was like a year. And then eventually I shifted truly into just the healing.
Do you feel like you miss any of the old job?
Not really. It was so interesting because back then I was very introvert. So I enjoyed being hiding behind numbers, and just working
Mm-hmm.
on reports. And then I didn't feel too confident, like when I had to speak on a presentation or things like that. And then suddenly, as I lost a lot of weight due to the Reiki Master Science, which I started to use on myself. I lost like 20 kilos. My confidence got better. And through the healing of source memory healing, also my speaking got better, and I became more extrovert. So that's actually changed the whole situation. Like I didn't want it to be only myself working on numbers or on spreadsheets, and stuff. I wanted to be more interacting with people, having that human connections, and that's what lighted me up to show them finally some help, some guidance, like how they can actually feel better.
Oh, that's beautiful. So I'm not super familiar with karma yoga healing. How did you come across that specifically?
Yeah, so it was taught by an Indian guru. He was from Kashmir originally, and then the basic of this is the science of consciousness. So he also calls this science of consciousness, and the basis is the Kashmiri Shivaism. So he applied the Adiyogi Shiva techniques. The first yogi is Adiyogi. So Adiyogi Shiva techniques are one of them is the Samadhi meditation. or source memory healings and ancestral defect healing. So there are many, many meditations there what we can use for ancestral trauma healing, ancestral karma healing, also other karmic depth release, and then the trauma healing. So it's like a really a big range of help for people, And how I got introduced to it is that I was in Hungary, and then basically he came to do an event in Hungary. He was invited by some Hungarian people who went to India first on his trainings, and then they invited him. And then so he came over, and then they wanted me to translate because they knew I speak English and I am spiritual. So they were like, oh, if I can help them to translate. But the funny thing was that I couldn't translate him because his pronunciation was very strong, his accent. It's
Mm-hmm.
very strong. And also, I wasn't familiar with the vocabulary. The science of consciousness, it was still out there
Oh.
for me. I wasn't familiar with it. So I ended up basically just translating the materials, the booklets, and then other people who already knew him, done the other translation. So, but I already started to get involved. I already sat there for one meditation, and that completely changed my life. So on that one event, the first event, I sat through one meditation, and that was when my pineal gland got activated. And then
Wow.
when I was listening to him talking about mindfulness, it was like, wow, this is the thing I was looking for. This is the thing I just felt that so connected. And it's just like, this is how I imagine the world it is. So
Mm-hmm.
it resonated with me. And then the pineal activation, what happened after that I suddenly started to feel like breadcrumbs from the universe, like callings, and synchronicities. It was really powerful, like I never felt before.
That is wonderful. Wow. One session, you could already start to feel a difference. That's mind blowing. Isn't it incredible that you don't you don't always have to have medicine as an intervention. You don't always have to have a surgery as an intervention. Like there are different ways of healing and they're pretty profound. Much quicker a lot of times than a new medication regimen or something, right? It's so incredible. And I love to see how you light up when you talk about this. That's so great. So, you talk about people having these quantum leaps in healing. And what is there like a specific example you could think of someone that has come to you and maybe they're dealing with, something similar to what you had, the panic attacks, but maybe it's really like all of the time, like daily, they are dealing with high anxiety and stress, and they feel like there's no way to get out of it. They feel like they've tried to do a meditation or they've tried this and they've tried that, but they have gotten nowhere and they come to you. What would be, um, how would you kind of start to work with them? Like, what would you bring to the table for them to help?
Yeah, I had specific clients with these issues. So I had a younger girl. She was a student. So it was her summer vacation when she had panic attacks before, but I wasn't around that time. So she had panic attacks and she started to take medications for like 6 months. But then
Hmm.
she stopped the medications and then she felt a bit better, but then something triggered it. She went on a vacation and a place and it triggered it. And then she got really bad, which means she was crying all day. She felt panicking all day. So it was really terrible. She couldn't really go outside, or she was really crying a lot. So when I met her for the first week, we had to wait a whole week to start meditating because first I needed to send her Reiki healings because we needed to bring her to the place where she can actually sit through a meditation. She was so freaking out. She couldn't even relax to sit through a meditation. So
Oh,
first we started with Reiki healing, and because I knew that she was also vegetarian, I enforced her to start taking, more vitamin B and then iron because I was sure that she's also lacking some
right.
vitamins or minerals because then your symptoms are much more amplified. So I asked her to shift either her diet or start taking these minerals and vitamins. So then
Hmm.
after a week we were able to do the first session, and then we did basically in the 1 month incubator, the 30 days incubator, I do 4 sessions with the clients. But meanwhile, they do daily meditations, and every day I give them like different meditations to practice, So they do go through this meditation library in the whole month, and then they meet with me 4 times, basically in a month. So that's what I did with her. So we met 4 times. We were doing the source memory healing, finding always the root of the issue, what she's having more issue at that moment. And then basically after, and then we also talked about mindfulness, because she got to the point that we knew that the panic attack is not going to come back, but she still had that thing that when she woke up in the morning, she was like, what if it comes? What if it comes?
Right. And
And
so many people have
then
that.
then we had to work on the mindfulness and on the subconscious reprogramming, that now you're going to feel safe when you wake up. So let's put some sticky notes around you, and then which say like, I am safe,
Mm.
I am supported, I am well. So I feel safe, or I feel healthy. So she had to remind herself that actually it's done, it's gone, it's not going to come back. So that's what she had to go through these 4 weeks. And then she was ready to go back to school. She was really well. So I was really happy for that.
Mm. When you talk about that mindfulness, I feel like that is such an important part of every piece of the healing, isn't it? Because I think in our world, we have so many things coming at us all of the time, right? And if we don't have something to go to or something to hold on to, we could easily go back, you know, to doing what we did before, right?
Yeah, because in mindfulness is like we need to understand that there is only 3 things which what we can control in life is our thoughts, our emotions, and our actions. And everything starts with the thoughts. And so many people is having negative assumptions. And then when you start having negative assumptions, that's creating negative emotions and bringing you back into the rabbit hole, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, and it kind of seems like it's a never-ending loop that a lot of people get stuck in, right? They just keep playing it over and over and over, and they have trouble getting off of that loop. That's incredible. So you've developed some powerful tools and some teachings, and you have a program called the Rise Energy Method, I believe. Can you share how that came to be and how it helps people reconnect to their power?
I'm not sure which method
Did
you
I,
were speaking of.
did
So I
I
had
it was a
I had a school community which called Release with Ease, and I had my series which is also Release with Ease. So, but the program is the 30 days incubator, which I really work with people, which includes the meditations and the life and the mindfulness and the source memory healing. And also there is a life transformation system course, what they all go through, because it's actually explaining them how they, how can I say, explaining about vibration, ancestors, about also the positive thinking. There is many aspects they need to understand, when we go through this transformation, and I don't want to waste time explaining it during the session. So they get this video package, they actually can listen to all of these topics. So they have a bigger picture basically about like, why is that they wake up in the morning and they think like, what's wrong with me? Maybe nothing is wrong with you. Maybe Mercury is in retrograde, or, there is like a higher G of sun flares is coming out, or whatever, like sometimes it's so many things can affect us, and then we already start looking for situations in our body, and again creating assumptions. So it's really important to understand first, having the information about your body, understanding your body, why is it reacting a certain way, because many times when you get panic attacks, you also panicking because you don't understand what's going on in your body, and then you get scared, like, oh my God,
right.
am I having a heart attack? Am I having this? Am I having that? And what if it's just a heartburn or some reflux? So, so it's really the most important thing is to get some information about yourself, about your body, about even, universe, the planets, the astrology and numerology. So if you understand more of these things, then you more understand that you are not always actually in control of your situation, of your circumstances. Sometimes it's good you just resting and you take some time off. You don't need to be always doing things and searching things and wanting things. Sometimes you just need to rest and relax, because that's the time when you're healing the best. And then sometimes it's just you can't do anything, and then the universe has to come in and do things. So it's like a co-creation how you live life. And when you can actually give up the control and just relax and be, that's really powerful also in your healing.
Absolutely. I love the words release with ease. I think sometimes people really feel like it's going to take too much hard work to do this. It's going to be too difficult. I'm not going to be able to do it. And they kind of almost try to barricade themselves before they even get to the start line, right? So I think it's pretty incredible that release with ease is just, it's a very calming phrase. And I feel like it probably puts them at ease just with the title to start with. So I think that that's great.
Yes, and then I gave this name because I was looking into, other tools or other things what people are doing, and sometimes it even looks scary when they're going through those
Yes.
healings or transformations, shaking their body or. And this
Yes.
and then the source memory healing is such a gentle process. It's just you sitting in a meditative state, you communicating with me, you're going into the memories, but truly it's just like watching a movie. You're not getting too much, struggle or pain in there. You still remember of the negative emotions to release them, but is just more like watching a movie. So it's, and sometimes they crying a bit, because if you
Mhm.
watch a movie you cry
Absolutely.
sometimes. So
Yes.
it's that kind of way. So it's nothing struggling or nothing painful or nothing destructive, or it's very gentle process, but it's really really profound and really powerful, because what is the results is this really mind-blowing, because we don't just use this source memory healing for physical illness or mental illness. We can use it for anything which is triggering you, even a relationship. Like I had clients who had issue, relationship with their teenagers.
Sure.
So what is
Amen.
triggering? Yeah, so what is triggering? They got triggered by the teenager's response or the way how they're doing things. So then we were dealing with that current issue, and we went into memories, to release those memories. And then the other thing is, not all of the time, I don't need to know the memories. Many clients not sharing with me the memories. They say,
Sure.
okay, I am in the memory, and I'm just asking them to share how they feel. And they tell me how they feel, but I don't know what they are doing there, because
Sure.
many times they can have even sexual abuse, or other kind of issues, and maybe they are ashamed or they don't want to share it with me, because we just client and therapist, so it's not like a bestie. So basically, this is also comfortable for people, that they can actually still keep it like their secrets, but they just share their
Sure.
emotions, and we go through the healing. At the end, what happens is that we rewrite the past in the Akashic records, and then they start a brand new path. And by that, we opening the karma vortex, and the solution is coming to the person. So something is going to happen within hours or days in their realm, when the situation is going to start having a resolution. It's
Wow.
it's really, yeah, it's really fascinating. Like the other people who's also involved, they start to react differently. They start to behave differently. Something is happening. Something will happen, shifting the whole situation.
That's so beautiful. And I think it's so great that they don't have to go back through an aggressive trauma.
Mhm.
They can be an observer in their situation while they can still have emotions connected. It's not a brutal situation
Yeah.
for them. It's not going to be gut wrenching. It's going to be beautiful. And the fact that people do start to cry or anything like that is another form of release, right? So
Yeah.
I think that's so incredible. I was trying to think what you just said about um they go back through with did you say the into the Akashic records, like, and go to the source of what happened? I think there's so many profound things in that, because I tell people all of the time that, you know, I think sometimes women especially get into a mode where no, I don't really want to spend time like taking care of me. I have to take care of everyone else. And I want to do that. Like, I don't want to be selfish. I don't want to like have to go into my stuff and this and that. So, and I had that issue for a long time growing up. And I was like, no, 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 let's just focus on everyone else and that kind of thing. But I had someone stop me once and say, you know what? If you absolutely have to find a way to bring others into this situation, please understand that when you invest in healing yourself, it has a ripple effect on those around you, those before you, and those after you. So, truly, by healing yourself, you are providing a service to others. That
Yes,
doesn't have to be your focus, but you know what I mean?
yeah, we are in one in the consciousness. So if we raise our own vibration, is raising the mass consciousness vibration as well. Yeah.
Hello. I just wanted to drop in real quick. And I wanted to reach out this invitation. If you and your friends feel called to gather for a spiritual retreat, say there is a venue near you, say there's one of your friends' homes that you'd like to host it in. Currently, only in the United States, I am doing this, but my goal is definitely to be able to broaden my horizons in the near future. But if you and your friends feel called to gather for a spiritual retreat somewhere local to you and one that nurtures healing, love, peace, rejuvenation, I would be honored to hold space and guide you through that journey. Retreats are seriously one of my greatest joys to lead, to teach, to share, to create community together, to love on people, to remind them how worthy and amazing they are. I I just absolutely love them. And also, if you know of a venue or a sacred space with beautiful healing energy that you'd love to suggest for some of my retreats in the future, I would love to hear from you. So please reach out, let me know, or if you would like more information or to connect, please reach out to me at email Justina, Justina, at angelreikijourney.com. So Justina, Justina, at ANGELREIKIJOURNEY.com. I can't wait to hear from you. I love you guys. Have a great day.
And it's so surprising that I have many healer clients actually. So who's even hypnotherapists or Reiki healers, they come to
Yes.
sessions and healings because they said, no, I want someone else to take care of me, or I want.
Right. And that's okay. And really, especially if you're in this business, you should have sessions for yourself. We're still in a human body. So, like, we can do everything we can do, but it's definitely good for us to get a tune up.
A couple of days ago, I had a session with one of my students because they need to take an exam because I also teach this karma yoga healing. So when they go through the program, they need to take an exam with me. So then they do a session for me, and it was
Oh,
really fun as
wow.
well.
I love that. What a great experience for both of you, really, during that. So, a lot of our, listeners are caregivers, healers, empathetic women, in a lot of times, or empathetic men and, men that are caregivers and healers. And a lot of times they end up reaching out once they've hit a spot where they feel completely drained, completely disconnected. Sometimes I'll even see them as they come into a Reiki session with me, and I can visually see. Let me rephrase that. Not visually, in my mind's eye, see them like standing outside of themselves. Right? They've gotten to that point where they've just totally disconnected. What guidance would you offer them as a starting point to even begin to restore balance and kind of reclaim their vitality and remember who they are?
If they understand that they are one with the universe, then they are never lacking of energy or never lacking anything. So when you are in the vibration with the universe, you are only having good things, like there's no
Mm.
space. In that high vibration, there is no space for pain or sickness or anything. So when you have the way how to raise your vibration to that high frequency, to joy, bliss, and happiness, and you keep yourself there, you are healing. So with the samadhi meditation, which I teach, that's also a way to actually raise your vibration and becoming one with the supreme pure consciousness or universe.
That's so beautiful. There really is an overabundance of love available to us 24/7. Like we don't run out, like we don't hit like a spot and they're like, "Oh, sorry. You've received too much love. No more for you." Like it doesn't work like that. So I love that. Yes, and we are all one with the universe, but so often, I feel like in our current days with a lot of things going on in the media, a lot of political things happening, sometimes it's easy as a human to fall into feeling very disconnected in our world. So I'm so grateful that we have more people like you here and that you're teaching this. I mean, that's incredible. When we get caught in these cycles of overwhelm and grief and emotional heaviness and those kinds of things, which I have heard a lot of here recently as well, as far as just in their daily life, let's say they start kind of incorporating that, okay, I am one with the universe. I don't totally understand that yet, but I know that there's like an overabundance, but I'm still walking outside and I'm like, oh my gosh, is all of this really happening? Is this craziness happening here? Are these people having horrible things happen to them? Like, what are just a couple like practical, just everyday steps you could tell somebody, either like limit this or increase this or drink more water or like just very little tangible things when someone feels so chaotic that they need just a couple steps to start with come to
Yeah,
mind for you?
so definitely for women, first of all, I would advise to take more iron because I remember I was suffering from a lot of issues when I had iron deficiency while I was vegan. I didn't pay attention of my diet properly. And
Mhm.
because I was vegan, I had more anxiety and more issues with my mental and physical health as well. So women need 60 milligrams iron per day. And 16 milligrams is like, if you think about that, an egg is only 2 milligrams, then that's like how many eggs you suppose 8 eggs a day, or how would you cover 60 milligrams, right? So I would highly recommend to get some iron for women, definitely, and also the vitamin B. They are like magical in your life. If you feel anxious or if you feel disconnected or then definitely take care of that. And then the sleep, of course, is really important to take care of our sleep, that always have sufficient sleep. But other than that, look for joy in life, in anything you do. Like even if you're doing washing up, switch on, like a music or feel what brings you joy. Do always something which brings you joy, like once a day at least, or look for joy in anything you do. Maybe you don't like to do certain things, but you can talk yourself into liking it. That's the power of your mindfulness. So, for example, you don't like cleaning windows. When I clean windows, it's so funny. I always think about the movie when the little guy, I don't know about the title of the movie, Kung Fu, something Kung Fu. So the little boy was like in a Kung Fu movie, then the master told him to clean the car.
Karate Kid.
So, yeah, karate, yeah. So the
Yeah. Wax on.
yeah. So he had to clean the windows of the cars, to get stronger. And then he was like pissed off, like, why do I need to do this? So when I clean windows, I'm like, yeah, I am in the gym, I am doing actually good exercise. So I look always into the positive things, whatever I do. I always look for like, why is it good for me? How it makes me happy, or why am I can actually
Mm.
or in anything, look for the good in anything. That's really magical in your life. That's how you can raise your vibration and again do something what you love every day. And when you said that you go outside and you see some bad things around you, always acknowledge that that is karma, right? So that person had have to go through that thing because of that person's karma. So you need to limit the sorrow what you feel. I'm not saying don't be compassionate. Be compassionate and support.
Sure.
Give money, give support, give a hug, give love.
Right.
but don't feel sorry, because when you feel sorry, you block your heart chakra. You start creating illnesses around your heart chakra, which means breast cancer, heart disease, lung issues. You don't want that for yourself. So please don't feel sorry for people. Do what you can for them, but don't feel sorrow all day long when you're watching the news. That's why setting boundaries, don't watch news, because those people somehow got into that situation through their karma. They meant to be there at that time to suffer from that thing because that was their life path. You have your own things to go through, your own challenges, your own karma. By the way, if you realize that there is some cycles, like karmic cycles in your life, you can also stop that through mindfulness, through recognizing what is the consequences of my action. Is it going to hurt me or someone else, or is not? If it's something that's going to hurt other people and you go into it, then you still continuing the karmic pattern. If you realize that, oh, if I make a different decision, which is good for everybody, then I'm actually stopping the karmic cycle. So it's many times you need to use your mindfulness about making decisions is really important, and make sure you don't hurt anybody in the situation. Basically, you bring the good, the best out of every situation. And yeah, basically this is what I can recommend.
Yeah, I think that is very helpful. Of course, as far as disclaimer, always, be in contact with your doctor or provider before making any medical decisions or taking any supplements or anything like that. But uh there's so much truth in all of that. And I think that we often feel like, in a way, like us feeling sorrow for someone or feeling sorry for someone is a way of compassion. And while our intention may be with compassion, I think oftentimes we forget that sometimes we almost voluntarily take it on ourselves, right? And then we build the things that you talked about. Those things start to show up, and and then there's this period where so many people come through. I've had clients with breast cancer as well that have been like, "Oh my gosh, like I've been a great person. Like I've always done everything for everybody else, and I don't understand, like, why am I being punished?" And really there's so much in that statement, right? I did everything for everyone else.
Mhm.
You It's important to invest in yourself. It's okay to heal yourself. It's okay to have boundaries. It's okay to fill yourself with love. It's okay to participate in healing practices and be a client of Reiki or yoga or all kinds of things. It's okay, and really it's necessary in these times, right? To make sure that we spend some time returning that love to us that we feel like we're so easily able to give to others. Well, you know what? Like, you're part of others too, right? So you're fully able and receiving of that love too. So I love that so much. Um, so what do you feel about this? Is something that comes up with me a lot with my clients that come in. So, I'll oftentimes find in a Reiki session that I'm doing that I'm kind of delving into something, and I'm feeling a lot of angst towards someone, a lot of resentment, a lot of things that we're trying to work through. And I call in the angels to help us a lot. I call in, spirits, ancestors, all those kinds of things to help them, pull that out. And I try to talk with my clients about forgiveness and how big that is, and how big that is for you, for the person that needs to do it, not for the person that you're forgiving. Like, it's so big for you because it leaves a mark. And I just wanted to know your thoughts on that, and maybe
Yeah.
the
So
situation.
yeah, it's a pivotal part of the source memory healing. So after we release the negative emotions from the past memories, and then we replace it with positive emotions, we move into the situation when I'm asking them to forgive. But it's not just a one-way forgiveness. Very often they need to forgive themselves as well, because they sometimes punish themselves or feel guilt or shame about to put themselves into that situation. Like, how stupid could
Sure.
I was to allow that to happen to me, you know? So there's
Mm-hmm.
always a double forgiveness. So like for yourself and for others. I even had clients who had to forgive to the universe because they were suffering from certain illnesses in this lifetime. And it
Mm-hmm.
turned out that they were not happy to be in this life. You know, they were like, I just don't like to be here. Why I need to go through this? Why I'm suffering from so much pain and so much illness? And then
Mm-hmm.
when we went back in the memories, those memories was actually before this lifetime when they were pushed to come down. So they didn't want it to come to this life. They read their contract, you know, they were there at the door. You need to go. They were like, no. Anyway, so they had to come down. And they were like, they had to forgive to the universe or whoever, you know, was in that controlling situation to push them down to this life. So that's the third kind of forgiveness. But forgiveness is really important because if you don't forgive, we can't move on. So that's like the one of the final steps in source memory healing before we
Okay.
actually can also download from Supreme Pure Consciousness as a lesson. So like some sentences or words. But forgiveness is really crucial. We can't actually close it, the healing, if it's not happening, the forgiveness. So how I actually uh, how can I say this? How I actually mm, go into the so sometimes, you know, when let's say they get abused, they were abused by their father, let's say,
Sure. Mm-hmm.
client who was abused by the father, and they were like, how can I even that forgive? You know, like how can I forgive to my
Right.
father? Not to me. So I always tell them that only 5% of the time you use your conscious mind. Rest of the time, 45% of the time, you use your subconscious mind, and another 50% of the time, you are controlled by the superconscious mind. What does it mean?
Okay. Repeat that one more time because I think a lot of times people think that, I'm using all my brain. Like, I don't know what's happening. I'm using all my body, all my soul. Like, I'm putting everything into it and I'm not getting anywhere. So, one more time. Sorry.
Okay, so only 5% of the time you use your conscious mind. It's happening when you focusing on something or you do something for the first time or you take an exam, you know. So why
Sure.
is that? Why is only 5%? Because it's draining your energy. You probably see that if you do a course or an exam, you are so tired after that, right? You're drained. And so your brain consuming lots of energy when in your conscious mind. So your body, to save energy, actually put you into autopilot, into subconscious most of the time, so then you can save energy. So for example, when you know how to go to a place, you without thinking you can go there, you know, or how to washing up, how to wash your teeth, how to have a shower, how to do
Mm-hmm.
these things. You don't have your conscious mind always there focusing on every second because you
Sure.
know how to do. So you are
Mm-hmm.
in the subconscious at that time. So then what is the superconscious is basically what the universe wants you to do. So that's another situation. So when someone got hurt by someone, like someone betrays you, let's say rape you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
then you can't really point your finger in that one particular person because they most likely either done it from subconscious mind, which means controlled by the reprogramming around them, you know, watching the TV, you know, having the friends, bad influence, or their father or mother or their environment. So the bad influence could create this kind of behavior. That's the subconscious part. Or the superconscious, which means that you had the karma to receive that. You might did the same thing to the person in past life. And now it was their turn to rape you because you raped them past life, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't know. So what I'm saying is that because it's so unclear why is it happened or how it happened, but most likely that person wasn't in their conscious mind when they did it. You know, they were maybe even under alcohol or under influence of other drugs.
Sure.
So that comes under the subconscious mind because the habits are there and the beliefs. So basically, that's how I can explain and tell to the people, like, look, they were not there when they were doing it. And then we are just little particles in the big equation, in the big universe. And as we are one in consciousness, we are
Mm-hmm.
like puppets. We are all, you know, like controlled by the mass consciousness, basically. So you can't really point your finger on one person when something happens to you. And that's why I explain. And then they take it well and they are able to forgive, even if they were rejecting forgiveness before this.
Yeah, it's taken a long time for me personally, and a lot of people that I talk to, in order to wrap my head around that stuff. I think so often when we get into feelings of resentment or anger towards someone, we get very righteous in our anger, and I'm never going to forgive them, and what a terrible human being they are in person, and all of this kind of thing. But once you are able to get to that point, like you are, it's incredible how differently you view souls, right? The judgment that so often is a very quick thing for a lot of people, and for myself a long time ago, prior to going through all my own type of healing, and I'm still healing, by the way. Like, you don't get to just, oh, I'm done, everything's good, I don't have to heal anything. But it gets to a point where you can see people from a place of compassion. You can feel with your heart that, yes, I know the actions of this person may have not been good. I understand that. And I recognize that you being the victim in this situation does not feel good. And I understand where anger would come to this. But when you get to the point where you understand what you were explaining just now, I think it gives such peace to that individual once they're able to grasp it, and then they can have this release. And the impact that it ends up having on their physical body, I feel like, is huge too, don't you?
Yes, absolutely. The release, when it happens, then it's the real healing begins after the release, obviously. And the one more thing why what I wanted to explain, that when I had a client with rape situation, and she was also mentioning that when she was like she was under a several rape, like there was a couple of people raping her at the same time. So when she was actually called the name of one of them, that's when actually the person suddenly stopped and went away. That showed also that he wasn't in his consciousness when he was doing it. And as soon as she brought him back to consciousness by the name, he suddenly realized, what the heck I'm doing, and he left. So, and he hadn't even done it. He was like the second or third or whatever. But I'm
Yeah.
saying it's also showing that how it plays out in the consciousness, right?
Yeah, that's incredible. Wow. And these, we're not trying to say that moving through all of these situations is easy in any way, or experiencing these life circumstances for sure, but just the pathway in order to get to healing is so profound. The other part, I want to ask you about is the power of self-love and acceptance, and how different someone's life can be, how it can even look different on the outside once they're able to truly embody loving who they are as an individual. And I guess, like, kind of what you mentioned earlier about a lot of times people have difficulty forgiving themselves. But like, once we get to that point and we do get through that, how different can their life look from where they started and where they are now after they went through this healing, just like in their outward. Yeah.
Yeah, so the self-love is so important, because that's one of your feeling joyful or happy, like because while you are suffering within yourself, like having all of those doubts about yourself and having all of those negative thinking about yourself, then you reflecting that out to your environment. So you hate yourself, you hate your environment, right? But as soon as you start loving yourself outside, everything is pretty and nice too. So it's like you see what you are outside of you, reflect that outside. I can even tell my own story. So for
Yeah.
example, I started to get overweight after my two children, was born, and I was in 9 to 5. I didn't eat healthy. I thought if I eat a little piece of chocolate every day, that won't count. If I finish their pasta after their dinner, won't count. Like mess.
Hmm.
Anyway, so Yeah, it was
And you
piling
were probably stressed, with being
and
so
then the
busy.
job, and I had also my job. Yeah. So basically, it was piling up, and then I did the Reiki master training, and then I finished as a Reiki master, and then I was doing Reiki master science on me for like 6 months, and I was still not happy with my body because I was like I wanted to lose weight. I started to go jogging. I started to like eating more, veggies and salads and paying more attention what I eat, but there was nothing drastic. I was just like, if I jog every morning, that's gonna be helping. So then
Right.
after like 3, 4 months, I lost like 2 kilos. Basically, I was like, oh,
And you
you
were
know.
like, "What?"
Yeah. And then that was the point when I was like nearly saying, like, I'm just giving it up. I don't care anymore. I'm 42. I'm married. I have 2 kids. I don't care if I'm overweight. I don't care. And that was the point. Like within a week, something happened. I was still doing the the Reikis, and then I was
Right.
still visualizing myself in my tiny bikini being slim. So that was my visual every morning when I woke up. So what happened
Yes.
overnight, like one day I woke up and I felt really weird. I felt like getting away from my body, or like felt like fainting, or it was really interesting feeling. And I was freaking out a bit. And it turned out that suddenly I couldn't eat certain food groups. So I went to the kitchen and then I felt, I can't eat white flour. I can't eat processed sugar. I can't eat dairy products. It was like clear. And then in the afternoon, my husband appeared with a bottle of wine and put it on the counter. And I looked at it and I was like, shit, this is on the list. I was sad. I just had that, oh my God, I can't drink alcohol either. It was like a big switch in my brain. I don't know how it happened, with the Reiki, I raised my vibration probably to the frequency that my body rejected these kind of things. And because of that sudden change, I started to eat without this food. Obviously, I started to eat
Mhm.
healthy, and I started to lose 2, 3 kilos every month. And then in like 10 months, I lost 20 kilos. So I went from size L to size S. And then I was the
Wow.
happiest ever. I couldn't love myself and I was overweight. I couldn't. There are
Sure.
people out there who loves themselves. I just can't. I always, went to buy a new clothes. I went to the changing room and I was like, oh, everything looks terrible on me. It's like I was like hating going, buying clothes. And then
Mhm.
after this transformation, I was so happy that I usually hate winter and autumn. It's cold, it's chilly, it's ugly. That
Mhm.
in winter and that autumn was the most beautiful in my whole life. I was like,
Oh my goodness.
nice. There's the leaves are green or brown or whatever. I didn't care.
Right.
I didn't
Wow.
care that the winter was coming because I was so happy with myself that the outside things were beautiful too at the same time.
That's a big light bulb moment for me because I'm kind of reflecting. Spirit just kind of showed me a timeline through my life as well of something somewhat similar. And I know when I'm in flow and when I'm staying on top of doing my meditations and things like that, because I can't tolerate meat like hardly ever during that time. Sometimes I can get a little bit of like really, really, really organic turkey in, but like other meat I just can't do it. Like I'm almost queasy just even like thinking of it right now. And however, when I've gotten myself, mind directed, right? And totally off into left field and trying to go back to a rabbit wheel of being in anxiety or stress or all that kind of thing, I don't have any problem grabbing cupcakes and, you know, chips and all kinds of things like that. So it's really interesting hearing you talk about that. I love
But
your story.
the funny thing is never came back. So I got so big
Oh, that's
in my brain.
beautiful.
It's like no effort. Like I'm so grateful for the God, like that I got this switch in my head because it's just not coming back. It's like I can look at a donut and then I feel it's a sponge, like it's not for me to eat. Looking at these food groups, and now it's like even I shifted even more because like a half year later, when I did the karma, like a year later when I did the karma yoga healing as well, I even shifted to become vegan and gluten free But the vegan part was just with me for 3 years, because then I had the iron deficiency, so I decided to eat meat again. But I'm
Sure.
still gluten free, and then I'm still happy about that. So basically, when I even did the Shekhem healing course, that was after the Karma Yoga healing and after coming back from a Shiva retreat from India. So when I was doing the Shekhem, I was like 3 months raw diet. I couldn't even eat food, like cooked food, like
You
literally.
were kidding.
Yeah,
Wow.
it was either with the Shechem, I was attuned to Shechem 1 and 2 within like 2 weekends. And then it was like my vibration was so raised high that I just couldn't bear eating cooked food for like 3 months. But then I went to visit a friend whose kitchen smelled so amazing that I was like, yeah, this is the day I'm gonna start eating cooked meal again.
I love that so much. Oh my goodness. That's perfect. So, you know, what kind of things in your own spiritual life? So, now you have your own business, right? And you keep busy with taking care of clients, and I assume you still have children, you still have a family to do things with, and you still have to function in everyday life. What are some practices that you still make sure to incorporate in your daily life to kind of help you stay on track?
Sleep is one of the most important. So if I don't sleep enough, I make sure that I take a nap, or so it's always has to
Great.
be done well. So sleep is really important. And then, of course, my breakfast is like a ritual. So my breakfast includes chia seeds, flax seeds, spirulina, all this power, how can I say, superfoods, basically, in my granola. And there's a gluten-free granola and then plant-based milk. And so I do that for my breakfast, besides, taking my vitamin or whatever and my iron. So I make sure that already at the breakfast time at the morning, I put all the necessary nutrients and minerals into my body. So it's really important for me besides my sleep. And yeah, and there are some days, it's interesting because some people believe that I meditate every day. I have to tell you, no, I don't meditate every
Right.
day. There are some days when I'm just so excited. I'm going after my things, I'm doing this, doing that. I'm just
Yes.
and then there are some days when I'm meditating 5 times a day, because I feel like that, or maybe that's how the energies are calling me, or that's the, like the growth and thrive. So, and then that's okay because everything is changing continuously, and nothing is constant, everything is temporary in life. So I ride those waves, and then I enjoy to do that because I freaking out from like, if there is no variation. I love variation. I love changes. So that's how I live my life. So basically, my breakfast is constant and my sleep is constant, but my practice is changing all the time. There are certain
Yes.
one of my favorite meditation though is the ancestral defect release meditation, and then there are some months when every
I'm
morning.
sorry. One more time. What did you say? One of your favorite meditations?
The ancestral defect release. So, what does it do to you is imagine that you have your aura, right? So, when you having negative emotions like anger or sadness or any negative emotion, or you got disappointed or whatever, then basically your aura starts breaking, right? As your chakras block,
Okay.
your aura breaking. We have in our environment, we have many spirits, entities. And some of those spirits and entities are your ancestors. They are there with you all the time. If they were unable to go to light, some of them were unable to go to light. They are stuck in the 4D, basically outside of your aura. But when you allow to break your aura because of being in the rabbit hole, these spirits can come in and use your body. So sometimes when you are in a bad mood and suddenly you crave some food or a bucket of ice cream or something, is not you. Is basically another entity or spirit is using your body to eat.
Whoa.
And then it's also for sex. Sometimes you are not the one who wants to have sex. Sometimes it's another spirit who's you carrying on your aura. And then you just got into a negative waves and then it's crawling.
Wow.
So when you do this meditation, what happens is this meditation is helping you with the power and with the help of ascended masters and other angels and spirit guides basically coming into the game in this meditation, but it's helping you to bring these spirits around you to light. So they got
That's
liberated. They're
beautiful.
coming up from your aura finally, and they go to light because of this meditation. And why I like to do it every day, because even if you go to the corner store, or if you walk next to a cemetery or through a cemetery, or you go to a hospital, you get these spirits on clutching on you all the time, you know? So basically to protect yourself, to release these souls, even if they are not your ancestors, this meditation still helps to release all of these souls to go to light. So you bring a lot of help to them, but also to you, and then you receive blessings from your ancestors as a result of this healing. So it's really
Mm,
helping you to be more lucky as well in life. And also you're going to feel after this meditation that you are much lighter to move forward, that heaviness come off from your energy field. Sometimes people feel stuck, and sometimes people like,
sure.
you
A
know,
lot of times.
can't make decisions, or
Yes.
the stock energy or heaviness on them, you know, or cravings and all of those things. As soon as they do this ancestral defect release meditation, basically they got liberated, and those souls and spirits also got liberated. So it's a good stuff, and it's part of my program basically in my 30 days incubator.
So, how would they get in touch with this meditation? So, they would go onto your website and do your 30-day
Yeah,
thing, or
so if they sign up, there are a couple of meditation they can already find on my YouTube channel. I have a YouTube channel, Magical Karma Priestess, but they can also get a connection from my website, edithbakis.com. So they just click on the YouTube sign there, then they get there. So basically on my YouTube channel, there is a playlist, a meditation playlist. So there are some amazing meditations. Already the samadhi is there, you know, the pineal gland activation. There is a
Mhm.
pyramid manifestation meditation there. There is a meeting with spirit guides meditation. So there are already some powerful stuff over there. But if they want to do like real work, like with ancestral healing, ancestral karma healing, their own karma healing, and doing source memory healing, you know, for your PTSD or your traumatic experiences, that's
Sure.
the 30 days incubator, basically. And they can book a call with me, you know, through my website, and then basically learn more about this, how it works.
Okay. So, if they don't necessarily know which way they want to kind of start in your website, they feel pulled to a couple different things. They can reach out to you and say, "Hey, I feel pulled out, to
So
a couple different things. Where should I
even
start?" Kind of
WhatsApp,
thing.
they can even WhatsApp me. So in the contact page on my website, the contact page, there is a WhatsApp as well, WhatsApp sign. So they can send me a message and ask. Because, you know, I also know that some people don't want to do the private sessions with me or this whole, but, you know, if you already enroll as a healer, like the Karma Yoga Healing Level 1 course, they already automatically get access to all the meditations, even the ancestral healing ones, you know, the source memory healing, everything. And then they get access to a facilitator group where they can
Mhm.
actually get unlimited healings with each other as they practice.
Oh, how beautiful.
Yeah, it's a really amazing community. And yeah, so
That's
it's
great. I do have a couple more questions for you before we let you go, but uh, I'm so grateful that you're here. My whole body's kind of like vibrating, and I'm just like super excited. Everything you're speaking is so beautiful, and I love that you talk about the ancestors, and you talk about how sometimes when we have an issue we're dealing with it. The reason we're having so much trouble linking it to what's happened in this life is because it didn't happen in this life,
yeah.
and I think sometimes people forget that, or they don't know that, and they get so wrapped up in like, what is wrong with me? I'm just a terrible person. I'm having all these issues, and it's all,
Mhm.
I feel like it would be linked to something like this happening, but that never happened to me, and I'm crazy, and da 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 da. And so often when someone comes to me in a situation, like my first response is, "You're not crazy. Let's take a minute and go back through things and try to figure out, where we're at." I think it's so easy to make yourself think you're crazy. I thought I was crazy when half the spiritual awakening things started happening to me. I'm like, "Oh, I've lost my dang mind," right? Did you ever have a moment like that where you were like,
Yeah,
"What?"
yeah. even I already had the tools, like I already went through the karma yoga healing and the practices like level 1, level 2. And I still, because in that time, the courses were like a weekend thing, like for 3 days,
Hmm.
we were together, we were practicing, and then goodbye, So then
Right.
between the courses, I was still alone, I was still like, what to use, how to use, when to use. Like I couldn't really always
Sure.
figure out. So it took me time to figure out like actually how to create the right dynamics and what to do on a daily basis, or what to practice, or when to use which tools. And that took me a while. And then while I was still working on that, I was still going through a spiritual awakening and lots of pains and still some issues, as I worked through. So I was still worked on that. And now I'm so happy that, when I have clients, then I actually there for them for a month, or even if they join my school community, I'm there for them, much longer time. So it's like you don't need to figure out yourself now how to use these tools, because I actually went through many years of like experience, and then I know I figured out for you, and then I can tell you like what's the best for you to make through it faster.
Right. So along your journey, you had moments where you were like, what is going on? Or,
Yes,
feeling, okay.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Especially when I had my panic attacks, and then I called upon angels. I was when I had like the iron deficiency, and then I was like
Mhm.
really sick, like with flu or something. When you have iron deficiency, all of these infections, they got more amplified. You are more weak, basically. So
Exhausted,
call
right?
upon I was call upon the angels to help me, like at least help me to get up to go to the bathroom, or to do what
Oh,
or whatever. I was just like a
sure.
like a rock. And then they send me a specific meditation, a healing through like the elements. So I was actually doing elemental healing, as they were like sending me like, okay, now the waves coming you, the water, now you connect to the earth, and then the air, and then the light, and then they even sent me a fireball. And then all of these things was happening because I was in a very bad situation. So sometimes you channel the best things, and then you receive so many amazing solutions while you are actually suffering. And we probably
That's
healers, we know to go through the suffering to receive these amazing blessings. And this meditation is also on my YouTube channel, the elemental meditation. And it's part
hmm
of my elemental light healer course, because I also did an energy healing course.
that's beautiful. So beautiful. And I'm sure that brings incredible comfort to everybody that comes to you, knowing that, a lot of these things that they're experiencing now are things that you have experienced, you
Yeah.
know, and you understand what it feels like to go through them, and what it feels like to be scared sometimes. Like, I don't know if I know how to do this, or I don't know if I can get through this, or those kinds of things. I wanted to ask you, what does it mean living in alignment? What does that mean to you?
Living alignment is means like there is no worry, there is no fear, because you trust the universe, and you trust the process, and you trust yourself, and you trust others. So I think living in alignment is the trust is really important. And that's what many people lose on the way, like when you betrayed for the first time, or when you have a failure, or when something feels very bad. Like, for example, when you lose someone, you stop trusting the divine, right? Why you took away from this person, why this person died, or, like you got mad with the divine, you don't believe in God anymore. And then when you make a failure, you make a mistake, then you don't trust yourself. Like, oh my God, I did this stupid thing. How can I actually trust my decision next time? Yeah. And then you don't trust the other person who betrayed you. So you are start to close in, and then you don't have actually nothing to trust anymore. Then you're freaking out because you're losing control, and then you're losing yourself. And then you just became very isolated from everybody, because then you don't want to trust anyone. So when you can break through this barrier, and then you can start trusting yourself again and say, yeah, I can do this, I am great at this, I can learn it, or I can create this. Then that's one gives you the willpower, your solar plexus starts lighting up. And then when you start trusting other people, basically you're opening your heart chakra again, and then you invite them again in your circle, and then you believe that, yes, these people were actually came to me to support me, to love me, or to help me out. So connections and collaborations is really important. And then the third, trust, is really important with the divine, because without that you can't co-create. And then, we are, as I said, we are puppets. They doing the work. We just literally. Okay. So basically, we need to be peace with that we have a blueprint. We came here with a blueprint, with a contract. So they know what we're going through. Your higher self knows what you're going through. But I mean, if you follow with them, you are with them, you connect with your higher self and with the divine, it's much easier. And then you can be sure that if you are in a higher vibration, then basically you're always going to attract positive things into your life. You're never going to be left behind. You just need to trust, and then you need to, and not too afraid even to sometimes just be and not doing. And the other thing, like I manifested the best thing in my life when I was doing nothing. Literally, I took myself out of life for a couple of months, and
Wow.
because I don't know, one was when I quit my job, the 9 to 5, and then
Sure.
we literally moved to New Zealand because we thought we're gonna relocate, but we didn't because we didn't get enough points. But we started the immigration process. But basically, for 6 months, we were doing nothing. We were just enjoying life, tried to get some interviews, but that was it. Like, we took ourselves out of our reality, out to somewhere. We lost all our money that time. We literally spent all our savings, but we had the best time ever. And then when we came back, we were actually making even more money and became even luckier and even having a better situation than before we left. Many people is afraid to start over, or afraid to leave, and then afraid to come back.
Yes.
Because like, oh, what if I come back, and what they're gonna tell that I'm a failure? No, my husband was on a different frequency than me, though, because he was more disappointed and more sad about that we couldn't stay in New Zealand. So
Or
he was mentally more drained or negative about that. I was able to even overcome this faster because the spiritual connection, and I was like, yeah, this is meant to be. We had to come back. So I acknowledged the process, but for him it was much more heavier to digest, basically. But if you trust the divine, you know that everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. If you didn't get something, that's maybe a protection for you. If you got something, that's what you're supposed to get. So it's like,
right. I feel like there's an element of surrender that goes with that trust as well. I think sometimes when I first started out with this, I was like, okay, okay, okay. I think I've got the trust thing down. I think but I want to do it this way. And I laugh now, even thinking that I thought that, because the thing is that you don't always run the show. While you can create and you are a great manifester and you can have abundance and all of that, the how you get there isn't always what you decide, right? So I feel like there is an element of surrender that goes with that. Would you agree?
absolutely. I realized when I was manifesting, and the things which is taken away from me fast, it means like, okay, you had enough fun now, but this is not for you. So this is kind of like that. Like, okay, you can do the same, but this is not for you. So we just let you to have some fun with it, but this is not what we want for you. So we're taking it away. So now you do your stuff again. So it's happened so many times that I was like specifically manifesting something. It came into my life, but it was just like took it away so fast as it was coming. And then it was just like, okay, I had my time, my moments, but it didn't stay longer because it was just suddenly gone. Yeah. And it
Yeah,
wasn't my control, obviously, nothing about that.
yes, yes. That's it's hard to let go of that control sometimes. I feel like sometimes we want to grip it as hard as we can, but really when we release it and we surrender, sometimes we have things that come to us that are so much bigger than we could have even imagined, right? I
Yeah.
mean, it's incredible. I have goosebumps saying
Yeah,
that.
it's kind of like we need to understand that whenever you let go something, and then there's always the next level. Like you just going up, up, up. If you believe in that, obviously you have to believe that you elevate, and then
Sure.
manifestation happening in sequences. So you going always to the better thing, and then you just need to be patient and surrender, basically, while you doing your job work as well. Of course, you're taking your daily actions, you connecting with people, you collaborating, you doing your stuff. But then for the bigger picture, for the bigger manifestations, you surrender to that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, as far as our listeners, if they want to get in touch with you, as far as your social media handles and all of that, they can go directly to editbkiss.com and all of your social media, handles are there. Is that correct?
Yes, yes, for the YouTube and Instagram and yeah, all of that. Yeah.
Okay. And any offerings or anything that you have going on will be available there as well. Are there any events coming up or any classes getting ready to start or anything that you would like to
Uh, I
mention?
just I just published my book, so I highly recommend everybody to grab a copy of my book. It's called The Gap Filler Success. So the gap filler success is simple steps to reach your goals. And then I wrote this book like two parts. Like the part one is more a strategic way of getting your goals, what
Mhm.
kind of actions to take, what to be careful about, how to present yourself. So that's kind of thing, because that's how I reached my goals before I became truly spiritual. So that is that part.
Okay.
Then the second part of the book is more the spiritual part, when I was already started to have spiritual practices, law of attraction, manifestation, releases, healing, because you need to heal and subconscious reprogram, all of those things. So that's the second part. And then I also give some examples of astrology, numerology. There are some calculations of personal number. And also I give a very powerful meditation practice there for manifestation. And yeah, it includes and my life stories, like my travel to New Zealand, my travel to when I was working in the Caribbean or I was living in other countries. So all of them is there. So it's also like a travel storybook besides having all of this guidance.
Wow. And where can they get that book?
Amazon, yes.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Can they get it from your website as well? Is there a
No,
link for the book?
no, they can get the links maybe from my YouTube channel, from my main pinned yeah, the pinned video. But
Okay.
basically, yeah, it's the gap filler success. So if they just search the gap filler success by Edith B. Kiss, then they can find it.
Awesome. I love that so much. Okay. Well, wow. Oh my goodness. What an absolutely radiant and soul stirring conversation. My heart feels so full, so soulful. I want to take a moment to thank you, Edit, for sharing your incredible wisdom, your beautiful energy, your deep commitment to helping others rise into their highest light. Your journey is such a sacred reminder that no matter where we begin, whether it's in science, whether it's in engineering, or deep within the heart, spirit will always guide us home to our truth. The way you weave healing, frequency, and consciousness together reminds us that transformation can be graceful, that healing can be rapid, and the alignment is available to each and every one of us when we choose to open our hearts, when we choose to say yes, when we choose to trust. To my beautiful listeners, thank you so much for being here, for showing up for your own healing, and for continuing to say yes to your journey. You're the reason this space exists. Remember, you are the light, you are love, you are divinely supported always. I love you, and I'm so grateful for you. If today's conversation resonates with you, I invite you to connect with Edit through her website, Edit Be Kiss. That is EDIT, B as in boy, KISS.com, where you can learn more about her powerful work and how to step into your own transformation with her. And if you feel inspired, please share this episode with a friend or loved one who could use a reminder of their own light. Together, we raise the vibration of the planet, one heart, one soul, one loving moment at a time. Until next time, I'm Justina, and this has been another sacred gathering on Sacred Soul Sisters. May you walk forward in peace, love, and radiant flow, and may the angels surround you always. Peace, love, angel wings, beautiful souls. Love you. Bye bye. Until next time. Hey everyone, I wanted to take a quick second and say thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so grateful for you. Thank you for listening to this podcast. And I want to take a minute and ask for a quick favor. If when you're listening to an episode, if you could please just take a second, place your hand on your heart and take a deep breath in through your nose and a long exhale out of your mouth. And just set the intention to send love and light to every single person listening right now. yesterday and in the future. I think together we just might be able to raise the vibration of this world. I'm so excited. And please follow me on Instagram at Angel Reiki Journey. Visit my website to book an appointment with me at angelreikijourney.com. And please follow this podcast, Sacred Soul Sisters. Thank you so much. And I can't wait to talk to you again soon. Have a great day.